Picture a player who steps onto the pitch and just instantly stands out. And not because he's the fastest sprinter or, the most imposing physical presence out there. Actually, he kind of lacks almost all of the extreme physical attributes we usually associate with modern-day athletic powerhouses. Yet, despite all that, he dictates the entire pitch like a grandmaster sitting at a chessboard. We're talking, of course, about Pedri. He is the absolute, undisputed master of footballing tempo, and in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly how he dominates the game without relying on raw size or speed.
So, how exactly do you dominate without size or speed? It's a question that really challenges the whole foundation of how we view sports today, right? I mean, in an era completely obsessed with physical metrics, top sprinting speeds, and sheer muscular power, a lack of physical dominance is usually seen as a massive handicap. But for a player like Pedri, that lack of imposing physicality is actually the blank canvas for his true genius. Without the crutch of pace or power to rely on, he's had to develop an entirely different, incredibly cerebral set of tools to conquer the pitch.
So here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the brain behind the game. Second, mastering the first touch. Third, the secret to tempo. Fourth, simplicity and perfect positioning. And finally, how you can play like Pedri.
All right, let's dive right into Section 1, the brain behind the game. It's all about football IQ over physicality.
This right here is the absolute foundation of everything he does. Pedri's biggest weapon isn't physical in the slightest, it's entirely cognitive. He cycles through 3 rapid steps in real time, all the time. Step 1. He scans the field constantly, like before a pass is even played in his direction, he's taking these little mental photographs of the entire pitch. Step 2, because of that constant scanning, he knows exactly where his teammates and his opponents are at all times. He's basically building this live, constantly updating map in his head. Which leads us to Step 3, and this is absolutely crucial. He makes his decisions before the ball even arrives at his feet. If you've ever watched him play and wondered, how does he never look panicked? How is he so incredibly calm, even with 2 defenders sprinting right at him? Well, this is why. The physical action is just an afterthought for him. He's already planned his next move before the defender even knew what was happening.
Moving on to Section 2, mastering the first touch and setting up the next move. Now, obviously, a world-class thought process is utterly useless if you don't have the technical ability to actually pull it off. There's a great quote here: he doesn't just control the ball, he controls where the game goes next. And that hits the nail on the head. Pedri literally uses his first touch as an offensive weapon. Every single time the ball arrives, his touch instantly moves it away from incoming pressure. And by doing that, he creates space for himself out of thin air, perfectly setting up the angle for his next pass. It's a highly deliberate, totally calculated action. It looks so simple, but man, it is deadly effective. He's not just trapping a piece of leather, he's literally dictating the spatial geometry of the game with a single tap of his boot.
Which brings us to Section 3, the secret to tempo, controlling the rhythm. Lots of players have high IQs, and lots of players have great first touches. But Pedri elevates it. He acts as the ultimate decision-maker for match speed, essentially operating in 2 distinct gears. Ask yourself, does the team need control? Like, are they leading, or is the game just feeling a bit too chaotic? If so, Pedri plays short, safe passes, intentionally slowing the game down that just drain the energy right out of the opposition. But if he sees space opening up behind the defense, boom. He instantly shifts gears, moving the ball quickly forward to accelerate the attack. The thing is, he never rushes blindly. Instead, he acts like the team's metronome. He alone decides when to slow things down and when to speed them up. He is quite literally controlling the rhythm of the entire match.
Okay, Section 4, simplicity and perfect positioning. Let's look at how he makes the game easier.
See, when you control the tempo, you also have to be in the right place to actually receive the ball, constantly. His spatial awareness translates directly into macro team success. Because he's always finding these little pockets of space, he is always in the right place at the right time. And because he's constantly supporting his teammates, he consistently creates passing options for his squad. If a teammate gets trapped out on the sideline, Pedri is already running over to help. Because of this constant, super smart movement, he's always available. Seriously, if you're his teammate, your job is infinitely easier because you know you always have a safe, reliable option. He essentially acts as this giant pressure release valve for the entire team.
And honestly, it's impossible to talk about this specific style of play without acknowledging the legacy he's carrying forward. We call this the Andres Iniesta blueprint. Just like the legendary Spanish midfielder, Pedri plays simple football, but he executes it at a very, very high level. Notice what's missing from his game. He doesn't rely on flashy skills. You're not going to see him doing endless step-overs or trying to juggle past 3 defenders, right? His genius relies entirely on clean control, smart movement, and quick passes. It's just a pure economy of motion. Because he sticks to these incredibly effective, low-risk fundamentals, the guy rarely ever loses the ball.
So let's bring it all together in Section 5, how to play like Pedri and applying this masterclass to your own game.
If you want to control games the way he does, even if it's just in your Sunday league, here are the 5 essential traits you need to implement. 1. Scan before receiving the ball. Really make it a habit to constantly look over your shoulders so you have that mental map ready to go. 2. Keep your first touch clean. Use it deliberately to move the ball into open space, away from your defender. 3. Play simple passes. You definitely don't need a highlight reel assist every single time you touch the ball. Just keep possession. 4. Stay calm under pressure. If you've scanned and planned your move, the pressure really won't rattle you. And 5. Learn when to slow down or speed up. Read the flow of the match and be that metronome for your teammates. The biggest takeaway here? Don't try to do too much. Don't force flashy plays. Focus purely on total control.
Intelligence over flash. Control the game. Look, Pedri is living proof that you absolutely do not need to be the fastest or the strongest player on the pitch to completely dominate it. You don't need to be flashy at all. What you truly need is intelligence, clean control, and just unwavering composure. If you can master those cerebral elements, you won't just play in the game, you will control it. But it does leave us with a pretty fascinating question to think about. In a modern era completely obsessed with raw physical metrics and athletic data, is the quiet cerebral genius of the metronome actually the most deadly and maybe the rarest weapon in football today?